Before I get started with today's paranormal supernatural experiences incidences story, which will be part 16, I wanted to ask, have any of you ever had a plan and you were about to go somewhere and then someone calls you and they're like, wait, don't go, wait for me. And then you're like, okay, I was literally just about to go out the door. And they're like, no, 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 I'm waiting, I'm coming right now, I'm coming right now. And then 30 or 45 minutes goes by and they still haven't shown up. And then you message them and you're like, I was supposed to be gone already. Like, I could be halfway to where I was supposed to be right now. And this is a time sensitive thing. And they don't answer. So then you call and they don't answer again. The point being is, sometimes you should just never wait for anyone. It's kind of my situation right now. I'm supposed to already be at Goss at the Forest, and I'm a little bit annoyed because it's actually only from a certain time frame, and I was already supposed to be going, and I already put myself back 1 hour, and now I am waiting for someone, and they're still not here, and I'm probably going to be leaving without them because I'm starting to get annoyed. I can be patient, but dang, that's a little bit excessive, especially whenever they're only 10 miles away. Anyhow, on to the story. Thank you for listening to my little vent session there. So, on this one, I'm going to take you guys back to Shotgun Creek, Oregon, and this was an incident where my son was with me, and I was driving with my ex-boyfriend who was driving, and he happened to take us down this one road that usually the gate was closed because there's like BLM gates. And I mean, when I was a kid, it used to stay open and we used to go up there all the time, and you could go up there and you could see some really cool things from up there. But ever since I came back to Oregon and had went there, I hadn't seen it open ever. Like, I haven't seen it open there since either, though. So it was a sunny day that day, and it was in like March or so, and maybe January, somewhere in between, like it was in the beginning of the year. And we went and turned down this road because it looked really sunny and green up there, and it looked fresh and pretty, and the road was wide open and there was nobody around, and it seemed kind of weird because it was usually closed, like I said. But he decided to go up there because he wanted to see from when we were kids if anything had changed. So he starts going, and then he starts like really getting it on this gravel road. I mean, he's going pretty good, 30 miles an hour, I'd say. And he comes around a chicane in the road, and everything seemed clear. And he's seen this one like log over on the passenger side, like on my side. So he swung towards the driver's side to try to avoid hitting the log. And little did he know that it was a fallen log that had been cut in two, and that on the other side there was some grass lifted there, and the other end of the log was. And he flew, like he hit that log and we flew. We caught at least 20 feet in the air, and the car like turned to the side, and like I looked down and I could see the tire like out the side of the window, and then green grass, and I thought we were gonna flip because of like the way that this log came out of nowhere and caught the car. And my son was like 3 years old in his car seat in the back seat, so I was terrified, of course, naturally. And so as this happened, he flipped the steering wheel again, and as the car was in midair, and that like turned the wheels enough to balance the car out and somehow jarred it back to where that it landed on this side, and then fell back down on the ground on my side with a really hard, loud thud. And as soon as it hit the ground, he goes, oh my God, I gotta get us down this mountain. And he turns a U-turn, like just like whips a bitch real fast, and he's like letting the car just haul ass down the mountain. And because he knows if we get caught up there, or if they come by and they just shut the gates, because they shut the gates at different time, and if you're out there past the time that they shut the gates, you're stuck, and there's no way for you to get out. And so like you have to wait till they come and unlock the gates, or you have to go out and go to try to find someone to unlock the gates, which is the whole hassle of issues that you have to deal with. So we did not want that to happen, especially having a little kid with us. And there was no sign that there was a log up there or anything like that that had been fallen, or that was cut in half or anything to let people know. It looked like it was just open to the public because it was in the public area and the gate was open. So nobody knew, we didn't know that it was there, and the way that he went flying up there is why the car ended up, the way that it was. But as we come back down the mountain, we could continue to like hear like this hissing sound, and I could hear it too, which is weird because I'm hearing impaired, so it was super loud. So like I'm hard of hearing, and I'm 90% hard of hearing, so it was super loud. At that point I was only like 80%, but still it was super loud. And he goes, I don't know what's wrong, something's wrong with the tire. We finally got down to the bottom of the mountain past the gate and pulled onto the main road, and there was a little pull off there, and he limped the car, because then he slowed down a little bit, and he limped the car over to the side and pulled the car over, and he said that he was going to walk to the closest store, which was like 5 or 6 miles from this point, in order to call his aunt, because there was no service out there, so that she could come out there and help us. And as we got out and we assessed the damage, it looked like the strut on the driver's side just split in complete half, like absolutely complete half. And so it was amazing that the tire was even able to get us as far as it had, because that front strut arm was totally completely cracked in half. And he was able to get his aunt to take us to an auto store that night, and we were out there in the middle of the night with him using like flashlights and things like that, because the car was basically stuck there. And that was also the vehicle that we used for the newspaper route, which if you watch another story of mine, you'll learn that ended up dying in another way from going up to Shotgun at a different point. So yeah, that car went through a lot at Shotgun Creek, and there were a lot of weird experiences. And now that I put it all together, I guess all in all, whatever happened in that car experience in Shotgun Creek ended up putting it out of commission several times. And the car was finally totaled in a car accident, which happened in Veneta, Oregon, not long after the limited slip transmission issue happened. That was another thing that happened related to Shotgun Creek. But this was the first incident that happened with Shotgun Creek. And to this day, we still don't know why mysteriously that gate was open that day. And that's really the weird part about it, because normally when they have conditions down where they don't feel like it's, good for people to be driving in a place, they keep the gate locked. And things like fallen logs, they usually have like signs or like trucks coming through or some kind of indication to let you know that you need to be careful. Not to say that you should be driving 30 miles an hour on a gravel road anyway going up a mountain. That was kind of an irresponsible thing that he did, which he later admitted. But the eerie part about it was that the gate was even open after always being closed, and it seemed so inviting. Like, it was just so pretty and green, and it was like the sun was shining on this road and everything. So you just felt like inclined of, oh, it looks so pretty, there's got to be such a pretty view up there. And it was like a green meadow, and for the time of year, it was mostly, like the gloomy season, the deep rainy season, and like it hadn't yet started to come into spring yet. So it looked warm and inviting, like a beautiful spring day, and really ended up becoming a scary night, because we were out there in the middle of the night, like we could hear all kinds of animals in the brush, and we didn't see anything, but we knew that there were bears and cougars and the like in that area. And he actually did manage to get that strut fixed on that vehicle, though. It was amazing, in the middle of the night and all those conditions, in time for us to be able to go and get a couple of hours sleep. And when I mean a couple hours, I mean like 2-3, that was it, and still be able to do our route by 2:30 that morning. But that was a miracle enough that we were able to do that. We thought that we weren't going to be able to do that at all, and it was just going to be a rough one that we were going to have to rough out. And then it wasn't but a few weeks later that the car ended up having another issue with its limited slip, because of a strange amulet that I found in the same forest. So, and then that same forest is where we saw the mist people, which I did another episode on. Again, go ahead and check through the rest if this is the first time you've come across my paranormal and weird experiences stories. There's several that have been shared. This is episode 16, and I will soon be sharing with you the last.